So Jack Reacher Never Go Back, which is one of those titles that is kind of asking for a kicking, you know, we told you never go back. I haven't read any of the Jack Reacher novels. You have, and
Yes.
just before we came, I said, have you read Never Go Back?
I can't remember whether this is one I didn't think. I mean, I have read loads.
Yeah,
but
you said they do tend to sort of blend into
with
each
the
other.
greatest respect to Lee Charles, who is a phenomenally successful writer. I mean, he only writes the Jack
And very entertaining, right? You like the
Yeah.
books.
I do, but one does blend a little bit into the other.
Okay, so the first movie I was a fan of, and I had not read the books. All I knew was the thing about, you know, everybody saying Tom Cruise is not the right guy to play it because everything you know about Jack Reacher from the books is that he's 6 foot whatever it is, and he's incredibly muscular, and he's very, very big. And there's a lot of things with Tom Cruise. I mean, obviously he's ripped and everything, but he's not very, very big. But I really enjoyed the first Jack Reacher film. I thought it was, you know, I thought it ripped along quite well. So now we get Jack Reacher Never Go Back because, in fact, although Jack Reacher didn't do staggeringly well, it did decent box office. This time, Tom Cruise returns to the role of Jack Reacher, which proved, I think, very audience-pleasing in the first one. If you've seen the trailer for Jack Reacher Never Go Back, it opens very much as it intends to carry on. There's Tom Cruise is sitting in a diner. There's a bunch of people outside who've been, you know, beaten up. Cops arrive and say, okay, you know, we're going to arrest you. And he says, 2 things are going to happen. Firstly, that phone is going to ring. And secondly, you're going to be wearing those handcuffs.
Classic Jack.
And you just go, okay, there we go. We're here. And that's like the opening scene of the film. So you kind of, you know where you are. And it absolutely sets up. And from then on, the film does pretty much what the first film did, in as much as it enjoys that particular gag. This one's directed by Ed Zwick, who's, you know, is a good nuts and bolts director. And so there are several sequences in it in which Jack Reacher does the thing about being in a room when he's outgunned and outmanned, but you just know it's fine. He says, okay, he's Jack Reacher. However, the twist this time is that he has been teamed up with Kobe Smulders, who plays Major Susan Turner. At the beginning of the film, we learn that he has been in touch with Major Susan Turner, and he's sort of having a slightly flirty relationship with her on a phone. He says, oh, you know, well, if I'm ever in DC, you know, I must look you up, and that, you know, we can get in touch and blah, 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 blah. Of course, what happens is he gets to DC to find out she's been mysteriously arrested. Something is clearly amiss, as it always is whenever Jack Reacher is involved. And it turns out that it's a miss within the compound itself. The next thing you know, he has to do the thing he's very good at, which is to go and rescue her, despite the fact that all the odds are against him. Here's a clip.
Ma'am, these men are here to transfer you.
Who are they? Reacher? What?
These men are here to kill you.
Soldier, you know who I am.
You've been relieved of command, ma'am.
No time.
I'm being held here without cause. It is your right to kill. That soldier was under my command.
We don't have time for this.
I left explicit orders for you to stay away.
Orders? You ordered me?
Yes, I knew you'd do something like this.
Don't make me regret it.
Biff, baff, splat, kapow, kazang, boom. Take that.
I mean, even from the sound effects, you know exactly where you are with the film. And, of course, it then turns out that there is, you know, a whole labyrinthine, strange conspiracy, and the two of them are pretty much on the run together. Also, there is a young teenager who they must protect for reasons which may or may not involve personal connections, which sort of seem... They may or may not.
Yes,
exactly. Who knows?
In this
Who knows
strange
whether
world.
they do. So it's them, you know, on the run, up against the system, and regular bouts of walking into rooms, and the thing being the whole point is that they both give as good as each other, and there's a lot of kind of quite smart wisecracking about, you know, are you saying that because I'm a woman? No, I'm saying that because you're a man. Which thing are you more annoyed about, the fact that you're a man? So there's a lot of that stuff which is very, very sort of, I thought it was well done. I like the fact that the film has a very egalitarian approach to it. I mean, people sometimes say, oh well, you know, you just think that like if something's gender balanced, well, then you like it. It's like, and your problem with that is, well, I just actually quite like the fact of seeing films in which people are equally balanced. Sorry, you know, call me old-fashioned. I just kind of like that. But the thing about it is, all the time you're watching, and I saw this in quite a big screening room, and I was sitting next to Boyd Hilton, and Boyd has read
From
books.
Heat magazine.
But yeah, and also late of this parish, and he's Boyd is he's a very good sort of tuning fork. He's got a very good ear for what makes a good film. I'm a huge fan of his, and we both sat there enjoying it quite a lot. Now, since it came out, I see that some of the reviews are not as glowing, perhaps, as they might have been. And I can understand people saying, well, you know, it's not breaking any new ground. It's not doing anything that's new or revolutionary or particularly fun. But what it is it's a well put together nuts and bolts B movie in which you have a strong hero, a strong heroine, a sort of stroppy young character who's actually rather likable despite the fact that they're stroppy, and that's what becomes likable. And so you have this kind of proto-family group at the centre of it, up against a conspiracy which you don't really have to believe in very much. It doesn't matter because it's an excuse for a series of set pieces. The set pieces are executed efficiently with, a good amount of... I mean, I like a good fight sequence on screen, and these are put together well. There's also a lot of sharp, snappy, irascible dialogue, which I like. That all works well. I did miss Werner Herzog as the greatest screen villain of the last 5 years. Do you remember him in the first film?
I do, yeah.
There's the whole section about him chewing his fingers off in a Siberian camp. Because he could. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, fine.
I remember that.
And he was, and there was something that he brought to that film that you don't have this time round, because he was like the uber villain. He was like the person that if you were doing a James Bond movie, you'd go, can we basically get Werner Herzog to do that role again? So you don't have that. So what you don't quite have is just that thing to push it over the edge and turn it into something which is completely unmissable. What you do have is good, solid, nuts and bolts, fairly egalitarian, sort of sassy, punchy B-movie fun that didn't outstay its welcome, and I, smiled all the way through it, and I like the fight sequences. There's nothing. There is almost nothing about it that is groundbreaking, other than that it's decently done, and I thought it was fine.